Presentation time is 8 minutes, and question and answer lasts 7 minutes. Shall we start? This presenter is Nihon Fukushi University and Mindanao Kokusai Daigaku. Let's welcome them with a big hand.
A very pleasant afternoon to everyone. I'm Marina.
I'm Seiji.
I'm Maho.
We are the representatives of Nihon Fukushi University.
Hello everyone, I am Damaris, the representative of Mindanao International College. Today we will tell you about intergenerational communication. We hope that you would find this topic interesting and informative.
This is the outline of our presentation. We have 4 points to tell. In this presentation, we will tell you about what intergenerational gaps are and what should we do to improve communication with people of different generations. And we will give you some advice how to increase mutual understanding between our generation and other generation. First of all, we will tell you about the kind of intergenerational relationships. The first one is between a parent and a child or a grandparent and a child. The second is between those who are over 65 years old and from 15 to 64 years old. The third one is of pre-war and post-war generation. We will focus only the first relationship, the one between a parent and a child or a grandparent and their grandchildren. Has anyone here heard about the intergenerational gap? Well, according to a researcher, the definition of an intergenerational gap is condition which interferes with something, because each generation has different ways of thinking, and sometimes they lack mutual understanding.
We sent a questionnaire to 100 NFU and MKD students. Let me tell you about the results from Japan first. The first question on the right. 85 people answered yes. The next question was, have you ever felt the gap between generations? 67 people answered yes.
In the Philippines, however, not a lot of people have heard about intergenerational gap. This is simply because people tend to live near each other. For example, 53 people said yes, 47 said no. It's quite close, isn't it? And also, in the second question, 60 people said they could feel the intergenerational gap.
Now let's proceed to the next slide. The gap felt by people differs in Japan and in the Philippines. In Japan, the difference in language is the one most felt by the people. For example, the youth likes short words because it's more convenient. Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu is shortened to Akeome. When using this, the elderly don't understand. They can't understand each other.
In the Philippines, the way different generations think is more strongly felt. Elderly people tend to sneer at the thought of young people wearing revealing clothes. And also, the youth no longer go to church that much with their families during Sundays, which used to be a popular family tradition. Couples or friends often go together to church.
In this part of the presentation, we will tell you about the gaps that are mutually felt in both countries. Firstly, we are known as a generation with diverse methods of communication. The internet is a good example of that. With this advancement though, children tend to isolate themselves. Next, some of the youth are interested in politics, but only few of them vote. They lost hope in political change. Lastly, the point of view of generations are different. This makes it even more difficult to understand each other. We're wondering, why a lot of kids can't show their values with each other? Why is that? It could be because of nuclear families, perhaps. Children don't spend enough time with the elderly. Thus, they can't find a common point. the detachment between the parent and children increases. This happens also between the grandparents' generation and that of the children's.
On to the next. We asked, is your family a nuclear family? The result of this survey is that 77 people answered yes. Nuclear families are increasing. How about in the Philippines?
Well, they are increasing. As you can see, 65 people said yes. However, as I said, families and relatives tend to live near each other. Some even live next door.
In Japan, we have this so-called intergenerational exchange. Through this, we get a lot of results. There are the results on children. First, they can learn good manners from adults. Second, they can accede a traditional culture. With this generation to come could catch a glimpse of the past. The elderly, on the other hand, won't be lonely. They also want people to talk to. This kind of activity could also help accelerate their brain's activities. You have those in the Philippines. Well, if given a chance, you should also participate.
We think that we can converse with the elderly in our daily routines. We can start by saying a good morning, have a good day. You can practically start a long conversation with a simple hello. If only young people would want to get to know the older generation more, we believe that it would be the start of better relationship. Lastly, let's go out. We believe that we can meet a lot of people by going outside.
Okay? When communicating with people of different generations, it is important to slow down and explain to them enthusiastically, slowly and little by little, teaching them technology or whatever they would want to know could be the means to achieving mutual understanding. Respecting them and talking to them as if with no regard of their age could be the means of achieving mutual understanding. People from different generations should also meet halfway. This means that young people should want to know about the elderly, and the elderly should be more open-minded of the youth. Closing one's mind to new ideas or even old ones could be the means of achieving misunderstanding. To put this simply, we wish we could tell you how to effectively bridge generations, but the reality is no one could really tell you how. It only matters whether you have enough interest or willingness to learn from other people. Generations of information is never a bad thing. We could learn from the bad and continue with the good. No matter which generation you're in, it is always a good thing to look back and learn from the next.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for a nice presentation. We could learn lots. Let's move on to discussion. Do you have any question or suggestion?